Sheree and I want to know that you're with us. So I'm here in Alaska. Sheree is joining us from Minnesota, and we want to know, where are you joining us from? So we're talking about anxiety, and one of the things that helps beat anxiety is laughter. Right when this started today, before we went live, I was telling Sheree that, if you're like me, then you always have contractors around your house doing something. And so we have like a bathroom over here. So I was going to the bathroom, not realizing a contractor was sitting lower working on some stone, and then stood up, and we're like almost face to face. So I encourage you in your life, laugh at yourself more. My sister is, I think, one of the happiest people I've ever met. She's like always in a good mood. And one of the things that she does is she laughs at herself. Not like makes fun of herself. That's not what I'm talking about, but just like doesn't take it that seriously. And I have worked really hard to try to adopt that in my life, and it really makes a difference. So for those of you who are feeling anxious right now, find something to laugh at about yourself. And I promise that life is going to throw you plenty of opportunities that you can either laugh or be sad. So might as well laugh. For those of you who joined me for the webinar a little while ago at 1 p.m. Eastern, then you got tons of content on the on quarantine and things, anxiety in the quarantine life. I'm just going to kind of highlight them here. And I asked Sheree to join me for this Facebook Live because she's done a really good job with anxiety, despite lots of changes in her practice and just her kids being home from college and just lots of different things. And so she put together some tips for you as well. So Sheree, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. Sorry, everybody that was on her call earlier. I missed the time conversion in my head. And so I was sitting waiting for this all to start an hour after it already happened. So, sorry.
I did the same thing. And sorry to Matthew Loop that I totally messed up. But I did a 4-hour time conversion mess up because I was supposed to meet with him at 7:30 my time, which is 11:30 his time. And on my calendar, I wrote 11:30. So at any rate, it happens. And I think it's just best to laugh and keep moving. So Sheree, what did you put together about anxiety, and how are you beating it?
Well, so the information that I put together is actually what we can utilize in our practices. I do craniosacral therapy, which we're going to be leading another event with Barb in July in Davenport, Iowa. And with my patients, I guess, I'm always assessing their dural tension. And so for me, that's just like how they hold their bodies. So adults kind of are rigid like this. Sometimes little babies are like super stiff and they don't even want to bend, and they're stressed out like this. And what I've noticed in all of this, because I've done an occipital cranial release on every single patient, always. I've just always done that in practice for over 20 years. And so I definitely feel like I have a pretty good idea as to how someone is holding their tension. And so as I'm doing that release, since this COVID stuff has hit, oh my goodness. Now, granted, I'm seeing way more adults. I usually see a lot more children. So I feel like everybody's demographic has maybe changed a lot if you're able to be in practice. But I am spending so much more time doing these occipital releases on my patients. And I feel like it's very beneficial. Everybody just kind of melts down, right? Like, so a lot of times for people that are coming in, they may not have even had any type of human contact for weeks, right? Like if they're single, they're just staying at home. Even if they're married, it's the family dynamics and everybody's just getting stressed and irritated. I was even telling Dr. Barb, like I went to get on my call and my daughter starts pounding on this 10 pounds of clay because of course we have to continue virtual ceramics class, which makes so much sense right now. And I was like, oh my gosh, you can't pound on that. And she's like, I have to get this done. Because, of course, we waited until the last possible minute to do our homework, you know. So I think for everybody involved, we can actually do our own dural release as well. So there is, well, I mean, you can buy it. It's molded plastic. It's called a still point inducer, but you can actually just take 2 tennis balls or 2 racquetballs, right? So they're just sitting next to each other like this, pop them in a sock, tie that sock off so that they're right next to each other, and just put it right at the base of your occiput and lay on the floor. And doing a still point inducer, it just basically takes that cranial rhythm and allows your body to sort of reset it. At the same time, kind of stretching out those suboccipitals and just kind of getting your neck in a much better position from this hunched over. We're on our laptops, we're doing all this stuff. And I don't know how much experience everybody on the call has with cranial work, but the really neat thing is, so I took my initial training through Dr. Upledger, who's actually an osteopath, but he has the Upledger Institute, and they actually do a ton of research, which is super cool. So what they have found, they've done 2 different studies. They did one on vets with PTSD, and they did another one with fibromyalgia and anxiety, and they sat and tracked it, right? And they found that it made a significant difference to take that anxiety level down by having cranial work done. And so part of how that all works is that as the body relaxes, right, your brain activities slow down to normal levels, your defense mechanisms sort of get out of the way, and it allows for your body to like get these emotions out and kind of surface them so that you can release that emotional stress and anxiety and heal it. And I think that that fits really well in the chiropractic paradigm, because we are all about getting stress out of our bodies. We look at stressors maybe a little bit different than just basic cranial work, because I think that the adjustment is such a powerful force. It allows us to get through things in a much faster way than we can if we just had craniosacral therapy done. But what's nice about that is we can do this on our patients, we can do it on ourselves to just get everybody to sort of like recenter themselves, get that energy nice and balanced, and just reset the body and kind of move forward from that. So
is there something you have your practice members do at home? Like, do you sell the little balls and then tell them wrap it in a
I don't sell them. I just I tell everybody to do that. The still point inducers, you can get those on Amazon for like $20 some, but most people have a couple of tennis balls or racquetballs laying around the house. And so I think, so I do have my patients doing that as well, for sure.
And how long are they normally instructed to lay there with the balls on their head?
So when you initially do it, it's basically to tolerance. Some people can't even do it beyond 30 seconds. And in a perfect world, you would do a good 10 minutes on it.
Okay.
But I think you really have to kind of build up from there. So I usually say, if it doesn't hurt, stick with it for 2 minutes and then kind of work your way up a minute each time. But it's a nice way to just kind of reground and center. And, before all of this stuff hit, right, like pre-COVID world or whatever, we already had 3/4 of all doctor's visits in the United States were due to some type of stress related problem. So we were already pushing the envelope on our bodies dealing with stress. And now you throw this in, and I feel like it's just knocked everybody over the edge. I mean, people crying, you see people fighting on Facebook and like crazy, ridiculous things. I just wish we could have these human interest stories where everybody's coming together and have that be the news versus here's the death toll, here's the,
Right.
My concern is all these little kids, like how this impacts them. They can't process, they can't understand it. It's hard enough for us. And then they're forced to like leave their classrooms and be at home all the time and not play with their neighbors. And,
right.
And then here at night, like this repeating, death toll, it's crazy. I mean, I feel like we've lost our filter. We're not, I mean, it's beyond anything, obviously, that any of us have ever experienced, but any bit of hope, anything that you can give people proactively to get the stress out of their lives. I mean, some states you can't even get an adjustment right now, which would be
Right.
horrible. So, you can definitely get on Facebook Live, do a stretching video, show people how to do get rid of that dural tension, and incorporate all of those things. I think people really would benefit, and I think they would really appreciate you, definitely, as a practitioner, giving those recommendations.
Yeah, I mean, and even more reason to make sure you're emphasizing chiropractic philosophy. Physical, chemical, and emotional stress greater than our body's ability to adapt causes stress, right? It's
Yeah.
like me trying to talk to you with my hand over my mouth. No matter how important that message is, when my hand is over my mouth, you cannot be well. And that's why we're, one of the factors of why we're seeing weakened immune systems, right? Is we add on the physical stress of the home environment now and poor ergonomics and da 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 da, and then we add on the chemical stress of all of the chemicals that just
Oh
saw
my
my
gosh.
spraying something yesterday and the hand sanitizer and da 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 da. And those of you who are, spraying bleach in your practice or chlorine or derivative thereof to
Mhm.
clean spaces. And then obviously the emotional stress and the technology stress that, like Sheree said, everyone was like right up until the maximum, just below maximum explosion before COVID. And now COVID hits, and it's not like it's making it easier, and it's not like it's making it better. So I think, and that's why we're also doing a workshop to help all of you who don't have exposure with cranials. That was one thing that came out of the PEDS boot camp, the sold out PEDS boot camp that we did at Sherman College at the end of February. Dr. Sheree was one of the speakers, and she talked a lot about cranials. And so many people were like, I have got to learn how to do cranials in my practice because my practice members need it desperately. And so, true to fashion, we're always looking in the boot camp to solve challenges for all of you to make your lives better and those that you impact better. And so I asked Dr. Sheree and Dr. Andrea, hey, what do you guys think? And they said, sure. So at any rate, Sheree also just gave us some at-home things so we can make sure that we're taking care of ourselves too. Okay, Sheree, you had 4 total points. Did we go through them already?
Well, we did go through everything that I had prepared. So,
well, thank you so much for doing that. And I want to rip through for all of you the 15 points about beating anxiety for you and your practice members that I went over in depth on a webinar today. I'll make sure that link gets posted below as well. Creating a PDF from all of my notes from today as requested. And all of you, please share it. Like, share it in your practice. I created it for all of us. I really don't believe there's anything new under the sun. So we're in this game called life, and we're in it to win it together. So when you see it, I just ask that. Give me credit for it, but share it. Like, please share it with your practice members. All right, so number 1, certainty. And what I said about this is there's way more things that we're certain about than actually we're uncertain about. And even before COVID, there were things that we didn't know. It's just, it wasn't being blasted into our head all of the time about all of the things that we didn't know. And so I just encourage you, if you're becoming more anxious because of a lack of certainty, make a list of all of the things that you do know, all of the things that are certain. Like, for instance, I am certain my family loves me. I am certain that I have an amazing tribe and an unbelievable team. I am certain of God's love for me. I am certain that I can go outside and improve my mood right now. So make a list of things that you're certain about. And also, and this is from Janice Hughes the other day, ways in which you're already abundant. Maybe you're looking at your bank account and because you haven't been able to be in practice, or maybe your practice is down a little bit, you look at your bank account and you're like, oh my gosh, it's not very abundant. Well, what are you abundant in? Are you abundant in love? Are you abundant in opportunities? Like, we all have endless opportunities. I don't think that we embrace as we should. Are you abundant in having a big family? Are you abundant that you still have food in your refrigerator? So make that list of things that you do have control over, that you are certain of, and your abundance. Number 2 is stay informed, but don't obsess with the news. And if it creates stress for you, turn it off. Like, just turn it off. You have complete control over that. Number 3, stick with trustworthy sources. For me, those trustworthy sources are Del Bigtree's thehighwire.com and Dr. Lyons Weiler, the Institute for Pure and Applied Knowledge, as well as nvic.org. So you choose your news sources, make sure they align with your paradigms, and just to the degree that it makes you informed but not anxious. Number 4 is step away from the media if it is creating anxiety for you. Like, you have the ability to do that. Number 5 is lead versus follow. Determine that you're going to be part of the solution instead of just, like, riding the wave of everyone else's anxiety. Like, get involved. That's how action always cures fear. And obviously fear and anxiety are tied together. So get involved and be part of the solution. As we stated at the beginning, focus on the things that you can control. And, something that we can control is you can control your physical environment. Keep your physical environment orderly. That always helps with anxiety. And when you start with decluttering something small. Maybe it's only a drawer. Maybe it's only a shelf. Like, don't tell yourself, I'm going to declutter my whole closet. No, one shelf, or organize one set of your clothing. If you're like me, then I have like my short sleeve, my long sleeve, my pullovers, my sweatshirts, my hooded sweatshirts, my wool sweat, everything is kind of like in order. So just start with one part of that. And like I said, on this webinar, it was an hour long. I went through all of these in much greater detail. Number 7, plan for what you can. And that means creating your own plan. Make sure you create your own plan, and your own plan for daily activities as well. Like, start your day with gratitude. MF3, me, family, fun, future. I've gone over that many, many times. Start with a plan and then follow it through. Make small commitments to yourself and keep them. Number 8, the what ifs. Well, what if this? And what if I can't go back to practice? And what if my practice doesn't come back? And what if, and what if, and what if, and what if, and what if? Well, really, for this one, stop, breathe, and simplify. As soon as you start getting in that cycle, you've got to stop yourself. And stop often means grounding too, like in some way ground, like feel your feet on the floor if you're sitting. If you can stand up and like get into a squat and just be grounded, that will really help you. And then simplify the problem. If you start asking yourself, well, I don't know, train yourself instead to say, all right, if I don't know, who does? Who does know the next step that I could take? So that's number 8. Number 9, and then under 8, I said take care of yourself and look at oxytocin. Number 9 is make it a priority to check in on the people that you love. And instead of sitting back and be like, oh, no one thinks about me, boo-hoo-hoo, you be the one that steps out. If no one's thinking about you, guess what? They think the same about you, that you're not reaching out to them. So if you're lonely, somebody else is too, and they're waiting for you. So please step up. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's necessary. So step up and, like the saying, step up and be the change in the world that you want to see. Step up and reach out to people with a phone call, a text, a Facebook message, an email. Just keep stepping up. And I encourage all of you to every single day, if you're struggling with anxiety, this is one of the best things I think that you can do. Well, number 1 is pray, read scripture. Number 3 is every single day, be intentional on inspiring and loving one other person. When you wake up in the morning, be intentional. I'm going to reach out to Sheree and tell her I love her and I'm thinking about her and I'm praying for her. Then the next day, I'm going to inspire people today. I'm going to do a Facebook Live and just tell everyone we're going to make it through. And then the next day, like, be really intentional about inspiring and loving others. And you'll find it's a great tool to help you up and out of anxiety. Number 10, really resist the temptation to allow Corona to dominate every conversation you have. And ways around that is to change up your routine about things that you like. Like, let's say you love reading. We'll start a book club. there's at least probably 3 other people in your practice or in your church or in your community who they're looking for some kind of a connection. Don't make this too big. Like, just say, hey, let's start a book club. Who's interested? You can do it from your business Facebook page. You can do it from your personal Facebook page. You can simply, get your phone out, start a Facebook Live and be like, hey, so here's like the first chapter. What did you guys think? Like, seriously, it doesn't have to be that difficult. Maybe you start a walking club and it's, hey, let's everyone meet at the middle school parking lot Monday night at 6:00. We'll just walk around the parking lot, keep our social distance, bring your bikes, bring your whatever, and let's all get together. We'll do like the virtual high five. You could even start like a physical fitness club where you are incrementally moving closer and closer to goals with other people. So that's how to keep Corona from dominating every conversation. Number 11, your people. Like, gather in your people and come together and find out how you can best help them. Number 12 is, the typical stress management strategies, right? The very first thing being chiropractic adjustments. Be consistent with your own chiropractic adjustments. It was really interesting. I went and got adjusted yesterday. Dr. Ryan's like, hey, this like no travel thing is definitely doing your thoracic spine a favor. I'm like, I know, right? Like, tell me I shouldn't get on an airplane again and I will be your best friend forever. But make sure that you're keeping up on your own chiropractic adjustments. Be kind to yourself, be gentle to yourself, say kind things about you, maintain a routine as best you can, take time out for the activities that you enjoy, get out in nature. Dr. Jen White has shared with me 11 benefits of being out in nature. They'll be on the PDF I created with a link so you can see those. Just amazing. Find ways to exercise. That is also a great stress reliever. 13, avoid self-medication. And I went over on the webinar earlier that Dr. Michelle Schwinn, who is a boot camper and great friend of mine, longtime private coaching client, she created her own anxiety formula, which is all natural. And as a provider, she has a special going right now that you can get in and learn more about it. She even created actually an email sequence for anyone who gets involved with Serenquil so that you can help out your practice members with anxiety. And then 14, help others. See in which ways you can help others. If you know that there's a family who's struggling in your community, why not go and help them? Tell the parents, like, hey, bring your kids to the middle school parking lot. You guys go have a date for 30 minutes or whatever, and I'll entertain your kids in the parking lot. Your kids can entertain their kids. You can do a sensory talk thing. Aaron Jacobs and I talked about a lot of those, but help others. It makes a big difference. And then another way to help others and to help yourself, maybe this is a time to do it yourself projects. Make your own soaps, make your own deodorants, make your own hair products. I mean, there's all kinds of do it yourself online, and you can go Facebook Live and teach your practice members to do the same while you and your kids are having fun. And then my most favorite way to beat anxiety is through scripture. And so during the webinar today, I went through and gave you a bunch of scripture that you can meditate on and consider. So I know that was rapid fire. I hope that was helpful. I will put the link below. So Sheree, as we sign off to everyone today, what do you want to say to them as they move forward from our broadcast today?
I just want everybody to just know that you are in a tribe of people who absolutely love you and surround you and empower you. And we are all here to kind of work through this together. I mean, I can't imagine having this whole thing happen without being part of the boot camp. Number 2, Barb just gave you like 20 Facebook Lives right now. I mean,
Yes.
if you do not know what to say, like go through one of the 15 things and then do Dr. Schwenn's thing and the nature. Well, I mean, there's so much content here. Like, it takes the stress out of all of this, and just make sure that you're taking care of yourself. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Like, we all take care of our kids. We tell our practice members this stuff all the time too. Get your adjustments in, eat right, exercise, make sure you're taking time to de-stress, make sure you're praying, and doing all those things that that you need to do. It's more important than ever. We need to all be in this at the end. So,
and don't retreat from the news, retreat perhaps from social media. but please don't retreat to the point where you forget to pour into other people's lives, because it really is such a great stress reliever. We all need you. We need you to show up. We need you to take care of yourself, because we're all in this together, and every single one of us has value. Every single one of us has worth. And so it is our duty, our responsibility, and our obligation to take well care of ourselves, which means also caring for others. So Sheree, thank you so much for joining me today. And to each of you who joined us, thanks. Have a great day. God bless you. And we'll see you on the flip side. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.